So you're all pumped, you've gone through the introduction to Minecraft in this prep series, and you're thinking, okay, what do I do now? What's next? Here's what you can do. I have 7 things that you can do right now, even before the program started, that's going to get your mind, your body, and your skills prepared and put you in good stead for the rest of the program. Number 1, this is about the mind. I highly recommend that if you have not done so already, go and subscribe on Spotify or wherever. I've got the links here also to Dr. Andrew Huberman's podcast called The Huberman Lab. Now, Dr. Andrew Huberman is an amazing neuroscientist, and he talks about the brain. But the wonderful thing about his podcast is that even though he's got 2 PhDs, he's an amazingly brilliant guy, he breaks this down into practical applications of neuroscience. And as you listen through, every single thing that he mentions in each episode, especially the first 8 episodes as you're learning about the brain, are directly applicable to what we're doing in Minecraft. Let's have a look here. Now here I have the Huberman Lab podcast. You just do a Google search on Huberman Lab and you'll get this. But let's have a look. So we've got episode 1, how your brain works. And this is an amazing overview for anybody wanting to know about the brain. And you'll learn some things about emotions, thoughts, and how your brain starts to function. And then we start to look at sleep, being more alert when you're awake, and then also using the power of sleep for learning. Then episode number 3, we're optimizing sleep and learning and your metabolism. Session number 4, we're looking at how to get over jet lag. So what happens if, say, you're a shift worker or you don't get normal circadian rhythms of the day? He speaks about that there, and you'll be learning about circadian rhythms as well as ultradian rhythms, which actually happen many times throughout the day. Episode 5, using dreams to learn and to forget. So again, this is directly applicable to Minecraft and what we're going to be doing. And I'm sure that as you listen to this, you're going, and then later on as we're going through the stuff, the penny's going to be dropping, how you can actually apply this to your learning. The 6th episode is how to focus and change your brain. So this is what we talk about, neuroplasticity, our brain's ability to change. And so we'll be looking at different things that we can do and intentionally change the way our brain is functioning and make it optimal for learning, and in this case, learning languages. And then session number 8, episode number 8, optimizing your brain with science-based tools. And Dr. Huberman actually brings in some really great practical ideas that you can apply right now in order to get your brain into gear and ready to learn. So if you can listen to these 8 episodes before the first session that we're together in Minecraft, you're going to be way ahead of the pack. It's going to be fantastic. So listen to those episodes. They're about an hour each, so you could listen to it over, say, a week or 2. Let it sink in, and it will put you in good stead for the program. The next thing that I suggest you do is to choose a language. If you haven't done so already. So many of you will be learning a language already, or you have sort of in the back of your mind what language you're going to be wanting to learn. But for Minecraft, we're going to be using this language that you have as a vehicle to apply all the things that we learn. So if you haven't done so yet, choose a language. But there's one extra step that I would say to do with that. In the time between now and the first session, go through the internet, go through your app store, and start to create, maybe open a Google Sheet and start to categorize and write down all the things on the internet. So it might be language learning sites, it might be websites with glossaries of terms, it might be websites that are solely in that language with web boards where people are discussing. But I'd like you to, or it might be how to learn X language, or it might be YouTubers. Start getting all of the information that you can together and drop them into a spreadsheet, because as we learn the different tools throughout the Minecraft program, you're going to find that many of those resources, which you'll be adding to as time goes on, will be able to be exploited and used to build your own tools and accelerate how you learn that language of choice. Next, I would like you to start to learn how to use the terminal. the terminal on computer. When I speak about the terminal, I'm speaking about either the terminal on your Mac or on a Linux machine. Now Windows have the Power Terminal, which is like a Linux emulator, and you can also load Linux Debian version on your Windows computer. So learn how to do that. I'll be having instructions as well, but there are many places you can learn to do that. But to get ready for session 1, start to learn how to use your terminal. Just some basic commands. I'll be having some little miniature lessons in here as well to show you how to learn. But there are many different things. Minecraft is not just about learning from me. Minecraft is teaching you how to learn from your environment, and part of that is seeking out learning resources wherever you can, very often online, and learning from those resources. So start putting that into practice now. Learn how to use the terminal. We'll be using it a lot, and if you don't know how to use the terminal, you might be missing out on some stuff. Running hand in hand with learning how to use the terminal, I would like you to learn how to use Vim. Now, Vim is one of the most powerful text editors on the planet. It was from back in the 1970s. It's been developed and developed. These days it's NVim. I'll be having lessons on how to install it, how to use it, set it up. But once you start using Vim, you'll never want to go back to a normal like Microsoft Word or even Google Docs. They have their purpose, but Vim, if we're talking about text, learning languages, you're going to be able to do some amazing things using Vim and work extremely fast with text and do feats that just could never be done in Microsoft Word. So learn how to use Vim. Aside from the other resources that I put out there on how to learn Vim, there's some really cool tools online too. So this is one, Vim Adventures. Because Vim, it's all about not using your mouse. You'll be using your keyboard for everything, and so Vim Adventures actually has gamified this, and it's a game that will teach you how to use the controls in Vim, and it takes you level through the different levels until you start to become fluent in the muscle memory language of Vim. And then there's another site here, and this is an online, it's called OpenVim, version of Vim Tutor and teaching you how to use Vim. There's also, if you open up Vim on your own machine, it will say you'll have Vim Tutor. And when I say on your own machine, if you have a Linux machine, if you have a Mac, probably now with Power Terminal, or definitely with the Linux on your Windows machine, heck, even in a refrigerator, if it's running on a Linux system, there's a chance that it has Vim loaded on it. And so Vim is everywhere. You'll be learning how to use it, and you can use some of these really cool tools in how to learn to use Vim. Next, hand in hand with Vim, we'll be learning to use the Vim Wiki. Now, as we're learning, you're going to be wanting to take notes, keep notes, start to make sense of everything that you're putting together about the language that you're learning and different things. And there's one fantastic tool to be able to do this, and this is using a Vim Wiki. Vim Wiki allows you to structure just like your own Wikipedia in your own computer. And it can even automatically generate it as a website. So you can actually look at them like web pages as well. I personally find it easier to read my Vim Wiki directly in Vim because it's so easy to jump around, but you can also look at it as a web page, or you could even build your own online site and it will broadcast out to there, publish out to there, and other people will be able to access it as well as you if you want them to. So we'll be learning how to use Vim Wiki. You'll need to know how to use Vim before you can use Vim Wiki, so start to learn to use Vim now. And once we've learned Vim Wiki, we're going to be learning one other skill, and that's how to use Git. Now, Git is a tool that was developed mainly for the software development industry by the same guy who developed Linux, Linus Torvald. And so what Git is, and Git has no special meaning, he just Git your Git like an idiot, because any Git could use it. And what it is version control. So have you ever worked on a project with a team where you've done something and someone else has worked on, say, the same file, and then you've got all these different versions of the same file flying around in mail attachments and different things. Git fixes that. So Git is an entire system, so everything's kept in one repository per project, and even if somebody does their own thing, they can build their own branches off, but eventually, if it all comes together, you can merge things and everybody's work will work in harmony, even if you don't have other people on your team, and say you're working between different computers at home. You can actually synchronize your Git repository to all your computers and make sure no matter what computer you're on, that all of the files and everything you have is up to date. One thing that I use Git for is to synchronize my Vim wiki that we'll be talking about. And so no matter where I am, I can actually go in to my Git repository. Now this is my Git repositories. You can see I have a ton of them. But let's just have a look. This is my Minecraft wiki. So I actually started a Vim wiki about my Minecraft program, and you can see that it's synced it all up to here. And from through using Git, I can actually pull all these files. Now the wonderful thing about Git is if we're using Markdown language, which we will, you'll actually be able to see then straight here that everything's beautifully formatted. Finally, if you're really, really, really keen, I highly recommend that you install Linux on your machine. Now, this is my operating system. Yeah, I use a Mac, but on this thumb drive, which is 128 gig, I have a fully functional, permanent installation of the Linux operating system. Mine is Parrot OS on this, and I can stick this into any computer, whether it's a Windows machine, whether it's a Mac. Even if I was, say, in some hotel or whatever that had computers sitting around, I can stick this in, not have to use any of the resources of that computer, and just boot straight off of this, and I have a full Linux installation. You don't have to do that. I've got other computers where you can actually have a dual boot and set up a Linux installation in conjunction with the Windows or your Mac OS X installation. But if you're really keen, learn how to install Linux and install a copy either on a USB stick or on one of your computers at home. You can dual boot them, and I'll have instructions on how to do that in the resources page.